An endowment to expand access to Catholic school education. I'm Lisa Oligas, and this is Newsmakers. A $17 million donation from anonymous donors is creating the Legacy of Faith Fund. In this edition, we'll learn what those funds mean to the Joplin area Catholic schools. We find out why some parents choose a faith-based education and talk with educators about the challenges and benefits of a smaller private school setting. We begin with the director of Joplin area Catholic schools, Jess Sickman. Welcome to Newsmakers. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Well, so congratulations on such a large donation. Tell us how that will help make Catholic education more accessible.
Sure. So the Legacy of Faith Fund is focused on providing an affordable Catholic education to any family who desires that. So our families who are active in their parishes are those who will qualify for support from this fund. It'll cover all but just a minimal amount of tuition. There are some requirements or eligibility per se for those families to receive that benefit, but our donors believe that our Catholic faith here in Southwest Missouri is something that provides hope and spiritual renewal, and they would like to see our families get more engaged in their parishes. So for them, it's about getting people back into the church, following their faith, and then having their students attend Catholic schools.
So let's talk about some of that. What does participation in a parish mean when it comes to benefiting from the fund?
Yeah, so our faith believes that we should be attending Mass on a weekly basis, so it's encouraging our families to get involved in that way, attend regular Mass, participate in our ministries, whether that's practicing a ministry during Mass itself, getting involved in volunteer activities, and just being an active participant in the parish. Something else is sacraments. It's important that our students are up to date on their sacraments, so that's baptism, confirmation, reconciliation, making sure that they're going through those sacraments that we believe are such a huge part of our faith.
Yeah, I mean, in the Mass, you could be a cantor, you could be a lector, you could be a Eucharistic minister. There's a lot of roles for volunteers.
Yes.
For sure.
Even students can get involved by being altar servers, sacristans. There are many different opportunities to get involved, both forward-facing and supportive roles.
This is probably a pretty dramatic change. I know at one time, that Catholic education was kind of a big investment for parents. It could get into thousands of dollars like other private schools. Was there an issue with parents being able to afford it and, getting access?
Yeah, so we estimate that it costs us between $10,000 and $11,000 per student to educate for an academic year, depending on their grade level. We don't charge $10,000 to $11,000 an academic year per student, so we are already discounting the costs, even for those who are paying full tuition. We do believe that it's part of our mission. It's who we are. It was the values instilled in us by the Sisters of Mercy to make that affordable. But just like anything right now, costs are increasing. We have to make sure we can cover our teachers' salaries. That keeps them coming back and being able to recruit new teachers. Just expenses overall continue to increase. So we have to make sure that we're doing what we can do to continue providing that strong academic foundation, but also keeping it minimal for our families. So the Legacy of Faith Fund will allow us to continue growing, make sure we have that financial stability, but also giving parents the break that they also deserve.
Well, and there are some people who presume private education is only sought by those who are wealthy, but when it's faith-based, there may be people who are not of a great means who still want to take advantage of that kind of education for their kids.
Yep. And even beyond the Legacy of Faith Fund, we offer scholarship opportunities, income-based, so families can apply for those scholarship opportunities. We base that on income. There are others that, other support we provide as well. So we really are trying and doing all that we can to make sure that anybody who wants to be in our schools is able to do so affordably.
So let's talk about the fund. Why is it called Legacy of Faith Fund, and is the fund one you hope to continue to grow by adding in other donations? Sure.
The donors have a strong passion to grow our church, not just our schools, but our church. And they want to do that for generations to come. When you think of $17 million, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around that number. It's a large number. But the fund that, an endowment is meant to last a very long time. It's an investment. So each year we're only going to be utilizing the interest earned off of that account. So the goal would be to help subsidize tuition for our Catholic families. A third of what's left over on an annual basis will go towards campus ministry for us at Joplin area Catholic schools. Another third will go towards campus ministry for our collegiate young adults in our area. And then the other third that's left over will be reinvested back into the fund to continue growing that so that year after year, the interest we earn increases. So, you know, it's not something that stops just because we receive $17 million. We're hoping to grow it continually so that it helps provide Catholic education. And hopefully at some point it expands beyond maybe just our Catholic families and we're able to support anybody.
So part of the announcement came that you will also be expanding access to St. Anne's or bringing St. Anne's Church into the fold. Explain how that works and what that means for the system.
So St. Anne's Catholic School is currently a preschool through 6th grade elementary school. So it will become a preschool through 5th grade elementary school under the Joplin Area Catholic Schools umbrella. 6th graders will now attend St. Peter's Middle School here in Joplin. So we're very excited to bring them on just as a way for us to share resources, whether it be curriculum, whatever it may be. We're very excited to have the students at St. Anne's coming into our system and having the parish be a part of the others that help support our schools. So.
Will that mean creating sort of a bus system or transportation system, or will the parents be bringing them to St. Anne's?
There's a lot of moving parts as we make this transition, but yes, transportation is something we're looking into on how we can you know, hopefully grow our students from the Carthage area, even beyond those who are currently attending the elementary school, maybe some middle schoolers and high schools that may be in public school right now that would, you know, benefit and want to be a part of JAX.
Yeah. In the past, enrollment has been a bit of a challenge for the Catholic schools. I mean, there's kind of actually competition in Joplin, surprisingly, and it's nice to have private schools because, you know, competition is a good thing for standards. Tell us, you know, is this designed to help grow enrollment? And is there a goal, a number that you're trying to reach?
Yeah, there's absolutely a growing number of people who are wanting private education for their students. We definitely have a goal for growth. We're excited to share that just this year, since August, we've grown by 5.5%. And we're going to continue with that momentum moving forward and just let the community know that we're here and what we offer. Community engagement is, you know, a goal of mine being newer to the position, and I think there's a lot of people in Joplin who don't know that we even exist or what we offer. So getting out there, engaging with the community, how can we also look at ways to give back to those around us, and just letting people know that we're a viable option. You know, 16% of our student body is non-Catholic, so you don't have to be Catholic. We welcome everyone into our school. So
yeah, a standard of excellence as well has been always known for Catholic education. Well, Jess Sickman, thank you for telling us about the legacy of faith.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a break, and when we return, we're joined by the principal of St. Peter's Middle School and Macaulay Catholic High School, who has experienced both public and private schools, and Sister Joan Schwager, who gives us the history of Joplin Catholic schools.
Embark on a transformative journey with Joplin Area Catholic Schools, offering you the chance to embrace the power of a Catholic education. At our schools, we don't just teach. We inspire, instill values, and foster a community of faith and knowledge. Your child's education is more than academics. It's about character, compassion, and a foundation for a purposeful life. Visit our website today to initiate the enrollment process and provide your child with the gift of a Catholic education. Discover the difference as we nurture not only academic excellence, but also moral strength and spiritual growth. Join us in shaping a future where values and education go hand in hand. Enroll now and let the journey toward a purpose-driven education begin. Joplin Area Catholic Schools, where faith meets education for a brighter tomorrow.
Welcome back to Newsmakers, where we are learning about the Joplin Area Catholic school system. Joining our conversation now, our principal of St. Peter's Middle School and Macaulay Catholic High School, Dr. Stephen Gilbreth, and Sister Joan Schwager, who's working with the Sisters of Mercy. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Dr. Gilbreth, you're known in the community for having a long career at Joplin Public Schools as well. Now you're principal of both the middle school and high school. How does that work?
Yeah, it's great. It's when I retired from Joplin Schools, they asked me if I would consider coming to the Catholic schools, and of course I'm Catholic, so I was like, yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity, and you know, to fellowship with the system and to be involved.
Is it a challenge to have to run both schools? And after years in public education, what are you embracing about the differences here?
Yeah, well, I guess logistically, the difference is that before I was either a middle school principal or a high school principal,
Yes.
so there are double the activities after school. And there's always something, but other than that, school is school and kids are kids. But the thing that is great about this is the idea of the Catholic piece, to be able to make that a part of our everyday, and to whenever I can, and all of the teachers do, is to embrace that piece of our Catholic faith and share that with kids.
So let's talk to Sister Joan a little bit about the history of Catholic schools. I mean, it has been, the Sisters of Mercy came here in 1885. What a legacy there is with Joplin Catholic Schools. Tell us a little bit of the history, how it got started, and how it's gotten to this far.
Okay. Back in about 1884 or so, Father McCormick met the Sisters of Mercy while he was visiting with the bishop in Kansas City. And then he got assigned to Joplin, which was very far from Kansas City in those days. And he got there and found that there had been a little parish school, but the teacher got married, so she couldn't teach anymore. So he needed somebody, and he remembered the sisters that he met while he was in Kansas City. So he sent for them, and sure enough, they came. There were 13 of them that came, led by Sister Ignatius Walker. They came, and it was wonderful until they got off the train. And when they got off the train in their long habits, the people who met them at the train, all the different miners, thought this was a dancing troupe or something, and they're going to be entertained. So they had all this wild hooting and hollering and whatever, and the poor sisters were scandalized. But the pastor got them into whatever little wagon kind of thing, carriage, and took them over to the rectory, and the ladies had a very nice meal, and the poor sisters were so shocked. So Sister Ignatius said, well, let's go over to the church and pray for a while. Well, they went over to the church. Now, the church is pretty plain and simple, and there were no big side altars. There were just dry good boxes with a cloth over it and statues sitting on it, and the sisters were dismayed. And finally, after a bit of prayer, Sister said to them, well, if it's good enough for the Lord, it should be good enough for us. So they decided to stay.
Yeah, and so they were educators for the miners, then eventually created the St. John's Hospital. I mean, they've been a really vital role in the community as a whole, the Sisters of Mercy have. You're currently working as a, say it again,
Sister Life Minister.
Sister Life Minister. What does that mean?
Well, for me, that means I am concerned with the life of sisters who are out and about in places, most of which are not where there's other sisters. So they live alone, or they're independent and haven't gone to like an assisted living. And so my concern is to make sure that they're healthy, safe, and happy.
Yeah. So you've actually been an educator in the Catholic school system, and there is a long history of Sisters of Mercy teaching. And what are some of the roles the teachers have had? What are some of the classes you've taught? I mean, I know some have even been principals. Tell us about their role in education.
The sisters have done everything as far as education. Even here in Joplin, they started out as a boarding school. So not only did they teach all day, but they had the women, the young girls, all night, all weekend for a whole semester.
Wow.
So they were not only the teacher, but they were the mother, the caretaker, the nurse, the everything. And so, and that carries through in many ways in the various roles that the sisters have had over the years within the education, whether it's being a principal, the PE teacher, the cook, whatever.
Yeah. So let's talk about having faith-based education and having the chance to interact faith-wise as well. How does that impact a student's attitudes? How does it impact the climate of the school, Dr. G?
I think that it's really good in terms of it keeps kids grounded in that idea that they're here for, that education is super important, but there's so much more beyond education, and as you dig the introspective of life and thinking about what's greater than ourselves, and there's the community, the Catholic community, and of course we attend Mass once at the school on Tuesdays, and as the entire school every Thursday. And then we have a theology teacher, and every student takes theology, and so they're inundated in that every day. And I think that it gives kids a piece of it teaches them, obviously it teaches them deeper faith, or provides them the knowledge to gain a deeper faith. And I think that it also gives them lessons for interacting with one another and interacting with the world and each other, and you know, how should we treat one another. And I know that it's the kids, you know, I told somebody, this is my second year at both schools, and one of my friends from public education asked, they're like, well, how's discipline in the schools? I'm like, you couldn't pay these kids to do something wrong, but you know, but I think that's a part of it, you know, is they know that they're there for an education, but also to deepen their faith.
I mean, when they know that their parents chose this, and sometimes there was a cost involved, I mean, does it have kind of an added emphasis of this, the importance? And it is character education as well sometimes when we have faith-based education. Sister, how do you see that reflected in the students and how they behave, and just in general the attitudes toward learning and each other?
Well, I see it too. School is not separate from church. It's really together, and since there's a very family connected, it means family, school, church, life, work, all go together. And it's not, you don't separate it, compartmentalize it. Like the math class is separate, like, oh, that's not about religion. No, there's faith in there too. Same with the science. Even I've heard some of our teachers, and some of them are not Catholic, say they can finally speak about their faith with their students.
And it's okay.
And it's okay, yes, and they love it.
So private schools can often be known for students who excel. Why do you think that is, and do you think having these smaller classes also is a benefit?
I do. I think that the smaller classes are a benefit, and you know, I think too, I mean, everybody has expectations for their kids. I think that piece of knowing that the rigor is pretty high at the school, and knowing the expectations are high, there's a lot of support from parents for kids to reach those expectations. And we put things in place to make sure that we're providing that as well.
Yeah.
You know, all across the board, from the curriculum to entry into college.
I was going to ask, I mean, how does parent involvement play a role? Does that have an impact? We talked about some rules. I mean, the system has uniforms. How is that helpful in making sure students succeed? Sister?
Well, I think one thing with the uniforms is the fact you don't have a competition about what you're wearing or not wearing. Everybody's on a level field, and I think that carries also into the classroom too. You're not kids aren't looking at each other, well, I'm better than you or whatever because I dress better and I have more or something. This way, they have an even field for that, and also makes it easier for education. It doesn't distract from the educational piece.
Yeah. And you mentioned parents being involved. Does that show the kids how important education is as well? Do they
absolutely.
feel comforted?
Yeah, absolutely. I think students know that their parents are keeping very close check, and I you know, there's not any opportunity for parents to not know what's going on.
Right.
And so, you know, I think the involvement there, the partnership between the school and home is super important.
So with this donation, are there new things coming? And I mean, what are the challenges but the benefits of being able to grow?
Yeah, I think, well, from the school perspective, it's, you know, it will add in, and we have a population of students who are not Catholic, you know, and so there are scholarships available for those kids. And I think the other part, the thing that will be nice for this, the endowment, is that if there has been a financial factor that's kept people from bringing their kids, well, that can lesser that burden. And you know, and we invite people into, we're having an open house here in a couple days, and we invite people in all the time. We give tours to people all the time to see the school, and so I think it will provide an opportunity for people to engage with the school and see, hey, this is a really good place to send your kids.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for sharing and telling us all about it. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take another break. When we come back, we talk to a parent who explains why Catholic education has been a priority. We're back. Catholic education in Joplin for some families can be traced back multiple generations. Sometimes it's even a choice that takes sacrifice. Why do parents choose it? Well, we pose that question to our next guest, Tara Hermanick, who joins us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Newsmakers. You have 4 children and all are attending Catholic schools. Why did you want this for your kids?
My husband and I thought that a smaller, close-knit, faith-based community was going to be a good fit for our children, and it was the best decision we ever made. The other selling factor to us, which I laugh when I tell people this, but I was a full-time working mom, and when we enrolled our oldest at St. Mary's in the pre-K program, they had an after-school care program. So it was he went half day to pre-K, after school to the after care program, and then I could pick him up, and we weren't having to figure out daycare on top of it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, these are smaller schools.
yes.
What do you think are the big benefits of being in a smaller school?
The biggest benefits is, one, you know everybody in the school. The kids know each other. We know all the parents. And so if I couldn't be at an event, there was another parent there who was supporting my child just like it was their own child. Or if I was there and another parent wasn't there, I could send a picture and say, hey, look, this is great,
Yeah.
or what's going on. And the teachers know all the kids. They take the interest in them both academically and personally outside of school as well, and they want to make sure they're living up to their best potential.
So when it comes to challenges, bigger schools can offer more sports. And I know that's always been kind of one of
Right.
those things of, oh, do kids want to leave? So is that something that's come up with your kids? And do you ever discuss it? What are your kids' kind of attitudes about the
We
Catholic
have.
school?
We've discussed that and the things that they have. My oldest wanted to play football, and we didn't have the football program. But we found an opportunity outside of school where he was able to participate in football. My other kids, it's just been, I'll do what sports are there and learn to excel in that versus that. We've talked with the kids, well, if you went to a bigger school, you might not have the opportunity to even participate, where here they can choose to participate in any sport they want, or every sport. My daughter takes part in every single opportunity for a sport she can, sometimes 2 at a time. And so it helps them, they don't have all the options, but they can make their choice and really commit to it.
Yeah, I mean, I know my kids were involved in multiple things.
Right.
Do you feel like they learn leadership skills by being able to, hey, and even time management of I'm doing sports and I'm doing FBLA or leadership?
Definitely. I think because they can be so involved, that teaches them that time management so that they know, okay, I have basketball games on Thursday, but a test on Friday, so I better study Wednesday for this or that. And the leadership roles that they have the opportunity, not only at the school, but in youth group as well, and getting to do all of those things, and helps prepare them for their future. I love what we say, educating leaders since 1885. And that's truly what the school has done, and as they grow to get to see their skills.
Dr. G talked a little bit about discipline and character development is part of it. What do you see in your children in that regards, and do you feel that the kids know it too? Do you think they sense having character development and growing faith-wise?
I do. I think it's amazing where they'll see, somebody that's in need and they will step up and lend a hand. I see the older students reaching out to younger students. They may see them at a basketball game and calling them by name or having a conversation with them. And they see them as an individual and not just as a nuisance of a small elementary school kid coming through. Or, when my kids will come home and say, oh, this happened and I helped them out with this or that. I truly do see their characters developing, and it's based on what they're learning at school.
Yeah. For some, it has been something where it has been a choice where you do pay for tuition. And a lot of people say, well, why pay for tuition? You can get public education for free. Why is that worth it to you?
I think it goes back to that character building. I think the faith-based community that they are in is instilling in them the characteristics we want our children to have when they're adults. And I think because you have that faith part of it, 1,000 times over, we would make that sacrifice again and again. Like, we have never doubted that sacrifice. And yes, sometimes it has been, oh my gosh, to do that. But what they've gotten out of it, is invaluable. And I tell people our oldest is a senior, will be graduating from college this year. And we say most of what his success in college, we contribute back to the Joplin area Catholic schools and what he gained while he was there.
Parents are often quite involved. Do you enjoy that? Do you think that's a good element of being part of the system?
I love that parents can be involved. I've been involved from the time my kids were in preschool as a room parent or as a now on the booster club and being involved with the athletics. And
It's a good sense of community.
It's a sense of community. And it's where all of my dear friends have been through volunteering with the schools. And that's, the kids have made their friends, but we made our parent friends through there and as well.
All right. Any big events coming up?
We have our Jack's auction coming up on March 1st, which is another way parents can be involved, or that the community can come out and support largest fundraiser for the school.
And of course, the Legacy of Faith Fund is always going to be there. So
yes.
Thank you for joining us and telling us all about your role in Catholic schools. Appreciate it, Tara.
Thank you, Lisa.
And that wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. Thanks to our guests, and thank you for watching.